Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. So one of my favorite and somehow least favorite times of business is when you have like massive, what I call seismic shifts, and when you realize there's a paradigm change going on, change in the winds in your business, when you have a ton of clarity, but you realize that you've been doing things wrong, or you realize that you need to make a massive change. And that happened recently. This usually shows up as getting stuck or feeling stuck, but in reality, you're trying to break through sort of a phase in a way and enter into the new chapter. And you only realize it once you have the clarity of knowing what that looks like, what that transition looks like. And how this showed up for me is we had a few conversations with different people on what makes us different. We had a few conversations with clients around feedback for us. And the feedback was beyond what I had anticipated. And hearing clients say out loud to us that we have become an essential part of their team, that, the things that we've done for them have helped them shift their business for the better, that they're better off because we're here, like all of those things. In theory, of course, this is why we do what we do, and this is the results we expect, right? But at the same time, hearing that outright is just like, wow, damn, like we're doing some really cool shit in here. And I love that. And this has created kind of this earthquake in my business to go, wait a minute, it's working. And wait a minute, not that I doubted it was, but you know how it feels as a business owner where you're like, holy shit, it's working. And when you design things in a certain way with real intention and they actually work, there's a sense of pride I can't explain when it clicks for you. And this seismic shift, I call it, really happened when we realized that things were clicking. And then it creates contrast where you start noticing more often what isn't clicking. Because once you have felt a client relationship that is by design the way that you wanted it to be, and you realize that is possible for you, when you realize that the exact thing that you're trying to build has been built and that you've accomplished the results that you've set out to do from day one, I can't explain that, but it's so powerful that it shines a bright freaking headlight on everything that isn't that. And then you start to go, oh my God, more of this, please. So that client who is singing our praises and saying how much value we bring to their business, I was like, I want all of this and I want, all of our clients to say that. I want to be able to deliver for all of our clients in that way. And I want to have clients who are willing to say that out loud and to share that with us. And anyone who isn't doing that, we have to really consider if this is a values alignment, you know? And not to create isolation or to create some type of standard or to exclude clients. But when we created our client roster, we created it with so much freaking intention that we started to really hone in on the type of founder, the type of business that we want to serve. And we've really kind of gotten that more specific. And what we've realized in getting more specific about the types of people we want, we realize we're also getting specific about the types of people that we don't want to serve. And that doesn't mean anything negative about their businesses. It just means that, hey, we're moving in this particular direction and we're zooming in, zooming in, zooming in, like double clicking on that map and getting closer to what we're trying to get to. And it's so important to prioritize that in your business. It's so important to gain that clarity and constantly be, improving those lenses. Like when you go to the eye doctor and they like click it, click, 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 and it gets better and better and better. And you're like, whoa, I can see. I'm saying this as I wear glasses, right? And I realize that like every time, even if you click those little glasses in your eye appointment and they go like number one or number two, and then you realize like number two was in the backwards direction, like blurry as all hell, and number one is super clear. And you're like, okay, number one. And then you keep having to compare. You're constantly presented with contrast to provide clarity of your decision. So what's easier, number 1 or number 2? What's easier to see? A or B? A or B? And if you're given those choices, it becomes so much clearer because although A and B are better than you without glasses, right? Those 2 lenses are both better than you without your glasses. Well, if you see them side by side, click, click, it becomes apparent which one is better, which one is clearer. One gives you a lot of clarity. Both are an improvement, but one is definitely the way you want it to be and the one you're willing to invest in. And that's how I've looked at our clients is they're all great. They're all, of course, like having a client's better than not having a client. For my business, having revenue is better than not having revenue. But at a certain point in your business, you have to gain that clarity through contrast and realize that there are some clients that are no longer serving you. Hey, Shannon here, and I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying this podcast and enjoying this episode, please leave us a review on your podcast platform, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, any of them, and let us know if you're enjoying the show. One of your biggest takeaways, we would really, really appreciate it. Okay, back to the show. There are some people in your business, whether they be on your team or associated to you, that are no longer serving you. And the hard part of this is when you try to make it personal or you allow it to become personal. And the people behind these clients, like the people of the team members, you have to isolate. I promise you, you have to isolate mentally from the people and go, okay, it's time to sever this relationship from a business standpoint. Like, it's like, love you as a person, love you as a human, love your business. Go you. I'm cheering for you. I just don't see this as somebody in our roster in 6 to 12 months, and that's okay. It's okay. It can feel rejecting to them. And we have made it a point to, you know, be really intentional again about who we hire internally in our employee team, who we bring on as clients. That's atypical of accountants, by the way. Like, it's really atypical to feel quote unquote rejected or to be turned away by an accountant because most of the time they're playing volume game. And when we come to the table and try to play a value game instead of volume, it's going to mean that we're going to say no to some people. It also means that that yes means something, you know? And that we're creating an environment where our employees just show up like really freaking happy to serve. And I can say from experience, after working with a client who delivered us some amazing feedback, we're on the way to helping them consolidate their debt and get that paid down. We're on the way to having them, reach a lot of different partnerships in their industry and increase revenue. We're on their way to helping them raise capital and bring on investors. And we're a part of that process and we freaking love it. And after we had a call with this client for a feedback session, they were over the moon. They were so happy with our services and they gave us some great feedback and it was awesome. I didn't ask them to specifically focus on the positive, but I asked a few prompting questions and they were super receptive and super happy. And that was refreshing because I love words of affirmation and building this. I knew this was a risk to do something that was different than what the accounting industry does. And it was really good feedback. It was just really good reassurance that what we're doing is working. And the biggest thing for me has been seeing my employees hear that and go, wow, like I have never had a client say this about my work, express appreciation, express value, and to really see it change their lives in a way, change their business in a real way, making impact. And the most satisfying thing about this feedback is that my employees were there to hear it and that they're now connecting their daily activities to serving this client and making a bigger impact. And now everybody is on the same mission, rowing in full force in the same boat to the same destination. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And what I realized through this reflection on our feedback and reflection on, you know, this contrast that I was seeing between certain clients, I was realizing that we have certain clients that are excelling in their businesses, certain clients who are just starting out, certain clients who are in any stage, any stage. But by realizing the potential of what impact we can make we have become even more specific about who we want to serve, even more specific about who an ideal client is, and even more specific about what it is we do and how our product works. So, my takeaway from this sort of reflection and this seismic shift, I call it in my business, has been to really choose clients intentionally and to be receptive to hearing what's working and what isn't, obviously. But we really experienced a huge shift in that getting that affirmation, getting that reassurance that something's working has made it clear what wasn't working or what maybe isn't and what we can do better. And that's huge because there's a lot of improvements coming to keep what you were in the coming year. There's a lot that we're doing to grow, growing hopefully gracefully. And, my mindset has changed immensely in the past several weeks on how we value ourselves, who we go after, who we want in our networks, who we want around us, who we surround ourselves with, people who challenge us, people who have huge problems for us to help solve. And we're excited to do it. We're excited to show up for them. And we realize that's where we can serve the best. Not, the what I would call like the layups, not the T-ball. We don't want to play T-ball and make a bunch of homers all day. We want to play in the major leagues and get better and be challenged. And that mindset shift based on what we've been able to accomplish for clients and then chasing these bigger problems to help solve. That has been a massive shift for me and a challenge because it requires a lot of more confidence. But once you realize that the only thing standing between you and your confidence is proof that you can do what you say you're going to do, then go out there and prove it. Go out there and do the thing. Have people tell you if you've done the thing, if you need them to. And that is a huge shift. Huge. So in your business, figure out how could you, with intention, find those areas of your business where maybe you're lacking a little bit of confidence, or maybe find someone in a healthy way to compare to be inspired by, and say, I want what they have. And then think about what would it take of me to get there? What type of person would I have to show up as? What types of problems would I have to solve? And then what is the gap between me and that person? What is the gap between me and those skills? And that's what you need to be focused on. Not these other distractions or things that just simply cushion you to make you feel better. What are the ways where you can challenge yourself in a big way so that when someone tells you you're doing a good job at that thing, it feels really freaking good because you know that it was hard. So that's something I've experienced recently, and I wanted to share that with you, and hopefully you find the same very soon. As you think about growing and scaling your business, it's important to focus on how your operating costs align with your profit and personal goals. Are you allocating your resources wisely? Are your expenses supporting growth, or are they holding you back? Building a sustainable and profitable business takes intentional budgeting and regular assessments of where your money's actually going. Now, with a power session, you can get personalized strategies to help your businesses thrive. Check out the show notes for more information on power sessions and how we can work with you to create the profit plan your business needs for a successful 2025.